How are y'all doing? I am so excited to be here and hang with everybody. This is actually the first live stream that I've ever done. I have never done one before in 7 years of being on BookTube. This is the very first time that I'm ever doing a live stream. So we're gonna see how this goes. I'm not really sure what I'm doing, but just be patient with me, I guess. I want to say thank you to everybody who commented and congratulated me on reaching 5K subscribers. You're just so kind and encouraging, and it's so wonderful to just celebrate together. I always feel like if one of us is succeeding, then it helps all of us to succeed. And I just love being able to celebrate each other's victories. And I feel like this is a little victory for me because it has been a long road on BookTube. Okay, like it really has. It has been 7 years. I made my first video in September of 2013. It's been a long while. Okay, I actually wrote it down. I have made 638 videos in 7 years, and I've never once done a live stream. So we're just we're trying it out today. We're gonna see how this goes. Mary Jane, hi, hello. I'm so glad you're here. This is awesome. It's so fun to be able to hang out together like this. I guess I'm a newbie at this, so this is all so fun and exciting for me. So when I hit 5K, I did poll asking you guys, what should I do? What should I do to celebrate? And you guys voted on that poll and you said, do a live stream Q&A. And so, of course, obviously, I would let total strangers on the internet dictate my actions naturally. And so that's what we're doing. I'm going to butcher this person's name. Lodegesia. Hello. Hi. I'm so glad you're here. Really sorry for butchering your name. Actually, we should just get that out of the way right now. Like, I am going to pronounce everybody's names wrong throughout this entire live stream. So I think we all just need to accept that fact. Like, we all just need to make our peace with that and moving on, right? So y'all just have to forgive me. I apologize in advance for when I will inevitably, mispronounce your name. Yours truly, hi, nice to see you. I'm glad you're here. Man, this is so cool. This is awesome. So I do have a bunch of y'all's questions that y'all have asked in the comments over the last few days. I've got them all printed out and ready to go. I've thought through my answers. But of course, if y'all have more questions, just leave them in the chat, leave them in the comments, and I will try to get to them. I'm not sure how we're going to be on time. We might just be here forever. But I'll try to get to them if I'm able. Okay, so the very first thing that I want to jump into before we even start any of the actual content is I want to say Happy Veterans Day, because today is Veterans Day in the United States. It's a day when we celebrate our veterans and our military and just take the time to say thank you. All the military veterans and their families, they just do so much for our country to keep us safe. And I mean, I sleep in safety at night, and I have personal freedoms because of our military, in a large part because of them and their sacrifices and their exceptional bravery and the way that they serve our country. So Veterans Day, I just want to say thank you to all of our military veterans and their families. Okay, Mary Jane, hi, thank you. Oh yeah, thank you for doing the live stream. Thank you, thank you. Lodegesia is the name of a bird species. Oh, neato. Oh, now I'm gonna have to look that up. That sounds really cool. Awesome. Well, good. Okay, so our first bit of content is my end of the year TBR. And I have a massive a couple of piles of books over here to the side. And oh my goodness, guys, my end of the year TBR is really insane. Ben's between the lines. I see you. Hi, I'm so glad you're here. Thanks for being here. So I have a really ridiculous TBR for the last few weeks of the year because I'm such a mood reader. Like, I will just set kind of a loose TBR with just a lot of different types of things on it, different genres, different age ranges. And then when I'm picking out my next book, I just be like, what am I in the mood for? I don't know, maybe this, maybe that. But I have kind of a loose TBR to choose from. That's why my TBR is so huge. I don't really think I'm going to actually read all of these before the end of the year. I'm going to try, but I don't know that that's actually going to happen. So we'll see. So my first one here is the Emily Trilogy by Ellen Montgomery. It's Emily of New Moon, which is the first one there. And then let's see, Emily Climbs. Emily Climbs is the second one. And Emily's Quest. Now, I have already read all three of these many, many, many times since I was a girl, really, since I was like a teenager, you know. And I have not reread them, though, in, oh my goodness, like 7 or 8 years. So I am way overdue for a reread. So this is definitely one that I want to get to before the end of the year. I've already reread the whole Anne of Green Gables series this past year. And so now this is my next Ellen Montgomery reread. So, Rainy Day Reads. Oh, I'm so glad you're here. Awesome. Hey, wonderful. Okay, and then I have a leftover from my October reading, which is Emma by Charlotte Bronte. I have 2 different editions of this. Emma is just a little snippet that Charlotte Bronte wrote, and she died before she could finish it. So it's just like, I don't even know how long it is, just a couple of chapters maybe. But a couple of different modern authors took that snippet and then finished it in Charlotte Bronte's style, right? So I'm kind of interested to compare and contrast these, like, how did these different authors reimagine where Charlotte Bronte might have taken that story, and are they any good at trying to mimic her writing style, you know? So I want to read both of these, maybe at least one of them by the end of the year, and just kind of exploring more with the Brontes. And then another Bronte that I have is the poems of Kerr, Acton, and Alice Bell. I said that backwards, didn't I? No, that's the right way to say it. Yeah. So that was another Victober that I did not get to. So I do want to read that poetry before the end of the year. But again, I'm such a mood reader. I really have to be in the mood for poetry. So that might be, we'll see if we can get to that. And that's just on my Kindle. That's why I don't have a physical copy to show you or anything. So those are some classics. I have read the entire Borrower series by Mary Norton, except for Borrower's Afield. Somehow this one got lost in there. It's actually like the second or third book in the series, but somehow I just never read it. I don't know what happened. I just continued on with the rest of the series and skipped this one. I don't know. So I need to go back and finish this so I can say I've read all the Borrowers. These are so fun. These are just such adorable, imaginative, just silly, you know, really fluffy children's books. So this is great for the holidays because tend to get stressed over the holidays. And you just need something fun and light to kind of lift the mood, you know. So this one for sure. I actually started a LarkLight series, and these are the next 2 books in that trilogy. They are Starcross and Mothstorm. These are kind of like Victorian steampunk set in space. So like if the Victorian era had the ability to space travel, then that's what these are. They are silly and fun and just another fluff read that's really great for around the holidays, just to keep your spirits up. So I definitely want to finish out those because I cannot have another unfinished series on my list of unfinished series. Like I've got to finish up some of these. Okay, speaking of unfinished series, oh my goodness, this monster needs to get read, okay? This is the Dragon and Thief series by Timothy Zahn. So I read the first book, Dragon and Thief, a while ago, like 3, maybe 4 years ago, and then just never did finish the rest of the series. This is the whole series. I own them all. So I'm going to have to reread this first book and then try to finish the rest of them. And I want to get this done. Like I have to get this done by December 31st. This is a for sure goal that I want to get this done. Oh, you had me at Victorian and Steampunk. I know, right? It's so fun. Oh, you guys should read it. It's great. So this one is another one that is set in space. The dragon is this alien life form who can actually switch themselves to be like 2D. So they plaster themselves like a tattoo onto a host body, and then they can come out and be 3D, and then they can go back and be like a tattoo again. So of course that makes it perfect for a thief, because that dragon alien person can slip under the doors and undo the locks and, you know, and hide and all kind of great stuff. So it's so great. It's like all kind of heist stuff and rebellions, and it's this, you know, it's aliens in space and everything. Timothy Zahn is such an amazing writer. He's done all kind of interesting sci-fi stuff. And so it kind of toes the line between like fantasy and sci-fi, and I think that's why I like it. So that's my goal. I'm going to read all of these. I cannot have another unfinished series on my list. I've got to finish some of these series for sure. All right. Then I have another series that I'm trying to finish. It's the Tiger's Curse series by Colleen Houck. She came out with another, almost like it just, the series had finished and then there was this continuation. So I'm not sure if it's kind of like a spinoff or it's like some kind of time travel is happening in here as well. But it's Tiger's Dream. It is oh my goodness. It's just humongous. It is so huge. I love this cover too. It's incredible. But this is kind of like, it's fluff, but I love it. You know, it's just, I don't know. I can't describe it. It's just wonderful. It's fantasy and magic and, you know, curses and all kind of fantastic stuff. So I love the legends in this one too. Lots of myths and legends. So that's always fun. So this one, I'm not sure if I'm really going to read this because it's very large. And I've heard actually from the author, she's commented online that it's very emotional. Like she said, have a tissue box handy. And I'm just like, oh, I don't know if I can handle that right now. Maybe 2021 will be a little less stress and then I can handle something emotional. Right now I need something fun, not something that's going to make me cry. I'm already crying enough, people. So we're just going to see. We're going to see what happens with that. F.R. Singh, hello from India. Oh, wonderful. Hi. Oh my goodness, all the way from India. That's fantastic. That's so cool. Oh, strawberry ice cream. That's one of my favorite ice creams. I love that. Mint chocolate chip and strawberry. Those are my two favorites. That's cool. Oh, is which book appropriate for teens? This one? All of these are appropriate for teens. Every single book that I've shown, they're all appropriate. I don't like stuff that's like, I don't like stuff that has profanity in it or stuff that has too graphic of violence or anything like that. So pretty much everything that I show on my channel is appropriate for everybody. Okay, so then I have two from Stephanie Meyer. I have The Chemist, which I think is some kind of murder mystery type thing. I'm not sure. It's kind of different from the other stuff that Stephanie Meyer has done. I have been meaning to read this basically since it came out. Like I bought it as soon as it was released and never read it because it is quite large. And I don't know. I just feel like if this is going to be so different from her other writing, what if I don't like it? And so I'm just kind of trying to decide, but I really just need to get this read. This needs to happen. Okay. And of course, the other one is Midnight Sun. So again, this is another one where I purchased it immediately the moment that it was released and still haven't read it because I'm afraid I'll be disappointed. But I've heard so many people online saying, I love this one. It was so good. And it wasn't, you know, amazing. It's not Dickens. I don't expect it to be Dickens. You know, I expect it to be fun and frothy and just enjoyable. You know, it doesn't have to be great literature. If everything were great literature, that would be kind of a boring world. I like just fun literature and silly literature, you know. So I'm expecting that it'll be good, but I keep putting it off. So both of these, I just need to read it. I like Stephanie Meyer. I like her writing. I feel like I need to trust her that it's going to be good. It's going to be enjoyable. So these two need to get read. Oh man, this pile over here is getting massive. Okay. Then I have this little penguin classic, children's penguin classic. I can't figure out if, I guess Miss Wrede is the author's name and the title of the book is Early Days, because I hate it when you can't tell, like, is Miss Wrede part of the title or is that the author? I don't even know. Anyway, so I've got to read this one. This is a total cover buy. It just looks so adorable and cute. It just looks like some Little Women kind of stuff, you know? So this one is short and sweet and fun, and I think it'll be great. All right, and then, oh, this one. The Secret of Ron Mor Skerry. When I was a girl, one of my very favorite movies was The Secret of Rowan Inish, if you guys have ever seen that. And it's all about this girl who goes to this Irish island, and she just finds adventures there. I'm not going to spoil it. So I've never read the story, though, before, but I love that movie. I still love that movie as an adult. So I keep putting this one off because I'm worried I love the movie so much, and then what if the book is different? And I know usually the book is better, obviously. But what if I don't like it, or what if it's just not the same? And so I keep putting off all of these books. I need to just bite the bullet and read the book and enjoy it and stop worrying so much. I need to trust the authors that it's good. Okay. Yours truly asks, what is your favorite comfort read? Little Women is one of my favorites, but when I'm really, really down, Secret Garden. The Secret Garden by Frances Hodgson Burnett is one of my favorite comfort reads. Somehow it just always inspires me and makes me comfortable. Comfort. Cool. Okay. Rainy Day Read says, I think Miss Reed is the author. Yes, yeah, I think that is right. I think that's correct. But the cover doesn't make that exactly clear. It's kind of weird. Anyway, okay, so I've got to get these piles of books like pushed over to the side or something. And let's get into some of the questions that you guys have asked. Oh, yours truly says, I love Secret Garden. I know, it's so great. I could just reread it over and over and over, and I would never get tired of it. Okay. So one of our first questions, I've got them all written down here, and I'm going to butcher everybody's names, so just make your peace with that. Cat Z's Reads. I don't know what that even is. Okay, they ask, what are your tips for being consistent on YouTube? Okay, my number one tip is don't be consistent. I'm not consistent. I do not have an upload schedule. I film when I get inspired by an idea. I edit whenever I happen to have time, and I upload, just whatever. Whenever I have something to say, that's when the BookTube things happen. But if you really do want to set up like a schedule for yourself and have an upload schedule, one of the best things you can do is streamline your process, like your filming process, your editing process. Make it, as just as streamlined as you can. So the best way is to batch your tasks together. So do all your filming together on one day. So you set up your lighting and your camera or whatever you have, and film 4 or 5 videos in a row, and then batch all those things together so that you can kind of get them done more quickly and with less effort, and that'll help you to stay more consistent. So fantastic. One of the pieces of advice that I'm always giving myself is don't make it perfect. Make it good, and that will be good enough. Because I am such a perfectionist, I will just sit there and nitpick at it forever. So just make it good, and that's good enough. And that's the best you could do for that day. So that's okay. Strawberry Ice Cream asks, what life-changing books can you recommend? Oh man, so many. I would say the most life-changing book that you could ever read would be the Bible. Obvious answer, but it's true. Okay, so our next question, Amazing Amira's Books and Hobbies asks, what's your favorite book and why? I hate this question because it's too hard. It's too hard to choose. I have so many favorite books. Okay, Jane Eyre was a top favorite for a long time. It still is a favorite, but maybe not a top favorite. Secret Garden, obviously, we've already talked about. Chronicles of Narnia. I am obsessed with Narnia. Lord of the Rings. I love Tolkien. Anything Tolkien, I am there. Count of Monte Cristo is one of my very favorite classics. North and South, of course, is amazing. I love North and South. I love Elizabeth Gaskell. My favorite Dickens is David Copperfield. Anne of Green Gables, that I've already talked about a little bit. I love Ellen Montgomery. So many favorites. Impossible to choose. Okay, let's see what other questions we have. Oh, Cat Reads. Okay, Cat Reads asked, if you could only pick one book or series from each of these genres that you think everyone should read, what would it be and why? And the genres are fantasy, classic, middle grade, and nonfiction. So for fantasy, I would have to choose Lord of the Rings. I mean, it's just so iconic. It just kind of defined the fantasy genre. It still defines the fantasy genre. So Lord of the Rings for sure. Classics, is that this is difficult because classics can be very polarizing. You know, one of my favorite classics is David Copperfield. So I would recommend that a lot of people that I know, they hate David Copperfield. So if I'm gonna say something that everyone should read, that I think that everyone would enjoy, I think Count of Monte Cristo, because I don't think I've ever heard anyone say, oh, Count of Monte Cristo, it was so boring. Like, I don't think I've ever heard anybody really say that they didn't like it. You know, whereas most other classics that I like, there's somebody out there that didn't like them, you know, but everybody loves Count of Monte Cristo. So that one for the classics. For middle grade, Chronicles of Narnia. Like, it's just, I have to say Lord of the Rings and Narnia for everything, right? So really middle grade, Chronicles of Narnia just ticks off so many of those boxes. Just like, yes, 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 good, good, good. Everybody loves Narnia. And then for nonfiction, I have to say the Bible. I mean, enough said. Like, you know, it ticks off all those boxes too. Life-changing, right? Okay. Rosemary Park asks, will you talk about your faith? Of course I will. I was saved when I was 4 years old. I still remember it very clearly. A lot of people think when you're 4, you don't really remember, or, you know, but I do. I have very clear memories, actually going back to when I was 3. So when I was 4, it was actually nap time. And I remember just laying in bed and I could not sleep. And I felt like there was just this heavy weight on my chest. And I just remember thinking, like, I need Jesus because I'm a sinner. I've done bad things and I need forgiveness, and I need Jesus to forgive me of my sins, you know? So I got up out of bed, and I remember very clearly, like, I was sneaking down from the bunk beds because my sister was sleeping. It was nap time. My little sister, she was sleeping. And so I was like sneaking out of the room so I wouldn't wake her up. And I went to my mom, and you would think she'd be like, why are you up? But she didn't. She was just like, what do you need? You know? And I told her, I want to be saved. I want to pray to Jesus to save my soul. And she kind of went through the plan of salvation with me. You know, Jesus died for your sins because we've broken God's law. You know, God created us, but we've broken his laws that he's put in place to protect us. And so, you know, there are consequences to that, and you need Jesus to save you from those consequences. And I prayed a little prayer, like little 4-year-old me. And it's kind of funny because in my prayer, I said, you know, because the way 4-year-olds think about things, in my prayer, I said, I really mean it, Jesus. Not pretend, not like Goldilocks, like a fairy tale, but I really mean it. So in my mind, it was very clear. There are things that are pretend, like Goldilocks and fairy tales, and there are things that are real, like God. And I just wanted to make sure, like, I'm very sincere in this. And it's pretty much just been me and God ever since, you know. I feel like you can talk about theology and doctrine all day long, but until you've had a personal experience with God, it doesn't really mean anything. And so when I talk to people about my faith, that's what I tell them about. This is my personal experience with the way that God has supported me and helped me and absolutely changed my whole life, you know? So yeah, even if you don't believe in God, that's okay. But it's just lovely to be able to tell you guys my personal experience and my personal faith. So cool. If you guys have more questions about that, I'm always happy to answer more questions about that stuff too. Okay, so oh goodness, here's another one where I'm going to say it wrong. Atharv Singh asks, what are your thoughts about Anne Shirley of Anne of Green Gables? Well, of course, I love Anne. I've reread them all recently. I enjoyed them so much. You can actually just search around on my channel and you'll see some of the videos that I did this past year, you know, in like monthly wrap-ups and stuff, all about Anne. I think I did a tag, an Anne of Green Gables tag. So, of course, I talk a lot more about my love for Anne of Green Gables in those videos and everything. Oh, goodness, I got to look at some of these comments. Okay, so Lodagesia asks, what is your favorite book character? That is, oh, that's way too hard to answer. I really can't decide. I have so many favorites. Oh, it's just too difficult. I can't even answer that. I'm sorry, I really can't. Okay, let's see. Oh, another one from Atharv Singh. Last month, I read one of the books you recommended in your old video about dragons. Oh, yes, the Dealing with Dragons. Oh, so good. Cimarine and Azul are such strong characters. I loved it. Thank you. Oh, wonderful. Oh, I love those. Oh, those are such imaginative books. I really love books that take kind of those fairy tale type tropes and just expand on it or turn it upside down or something. Those are always so good. Strawberry Ice Cream asks, who are your most favorite classic writers? Definitely Dickens is a huge favorite. Elizabeth Gaskell, obviously like Jane Austen, you know, Ellen Montgomery, all those kind of guys. So many favorites. Alexander Dumas. I mean, just look behind me, you know, like they're all back there. Ellen Alcott, you know, Sir Arthur Conan Doyle. So many favorites. I've actually done a few videos, I think, like my favorite Victorian authors. I just did that a few weeks ago. So, of course, you can look back at those videos to see some of my favorites. Okay, Strawberry Ice Cream asks, what are your thoughts on Secret Life of Bees? I have never read it. I mean, I've heard of it, you know, but it just kind of never captured my attention to be like, oh, that's something I want to read. So, sorry, I never read it. So, yeah. Okay, so our next one is, what is your favorite thing about Jane Austen novels? I think my favorite thing about Jane Austen is the humor. Jane Austen just has that sarcastic, biting humor, and it just makes me laugh. Even in her more serious novels, there are so many great little funny moments that are in there, you know. But I think I also like that her humor can be kind of harsh at times, but then it's tempered with compassion too. So there's a really great balance in there. I really love that. Okay, what are your thoughts about Jo and the others as we follow them from their childhood in Little Women to their old age in Jo's boys? I do love the Little Women trilogy. I've reread it dozens and dozens of times. I always enjoy it. I mean, when I was a girl, I related so strongly to Jo because she's imaginative, she's headstrong, she's willful, you know, and I love that she became a teacher later. And I think that when I was a kid, that was actually really influential in inspiring me to become a teacher, you know, so very cool. Yeah. David Holm, hello. Oh, I'm so glad you're here. I've read almost all Anne Perry and Debbie Macomber. Can you recommend a classic? Oh goodness, so many good classics. Oh, I just go back and look at some of my videos about classics because there are so many good ones. It's so difficult to choose just one, you know. I feel like if you're saying you want to understand women more, I would read Elizabeth Gaskell because she has such complex women characters. There's just a lot of character building going on there. So Elizabeth Gaskell is really fantastic with her character building of female characters. So that would be a good one. Okay, our next question, Eli Miller asks, where is your favorite place to read? I like going to parks to read. I think probably, I mean, I read all over the place, you know, but I think probably my favorite is to read in bed because I like to snuggle up in the covers and, you know, just read for hours and hours before bed. So that's definitely a favorite. Let's see. Oh, yours truly asked before, at what time do you prefer reading books? All the time, just every minute of every day. I read in the morning. I read on my lunch break. I read when I'm at work and there's no customers. I read in the afternoon. I read before bed, just all day, every day, reading every day. Oh, here's another name that I'm going to butcher. Here we go. Kinshuk Dhaliwal. Oh dear, I'm so sorry. Do you like Jane Austen's novels? Which one is your favorite? Lots of Jane Austen questions. That's pretty cool. I do like Jane Austen, obviously. Yes, big Jane Austen fan. I actually did a whole video ranking all of my favorite Jane Austen books and why, which ones are my favorite and everything. So go on my channel and look for that video. Lots of fun talking about Jane Austen. Okay, Ben's Between the Lines asked, if you could live your life as a character in a book that you've read, who would it be and why? So the first thing that came to my mind was Emma from Jane Austen's Emma, because then I could marry Mr. Knightley, you know. So that would be lovely. Or my other choice would be Margaret from Elizabeth Gaskell's North and South, because then I would get to marry my soulmate, John Thornton, right? However, if I married John Thornton, then I would have a horrible mother-in-law. So that's not a foolproof plan. but I don't know. Either one of those probably. Margaret or Emma, one or the other. Okay, another question. What is a popular book that you haven't read yet, and how do you choose what to read next? So the first thing I thought of when I was trying to think, tons of popular books that I haven't read yet, but an author that everybody is just talking about, and I have not read anything of theirs, is Brandon Sanderson. Can you believe it? Everybody is talking about Brandon Sanderson, and you would think I love fantasy. That's my wheelhouse. I haven't read anything by him yet. I actually own a couple of his books, and I just still haven't read them yet. I really need to get to that next year. So the other question is, how do you choose what to read next? So I am a mood reader, and as you guys saw with my end of the year TBR, I just kind of have a loose TBR with various genres and age ranges, and I pick something off of that just kind of based on my mood, you know. So Allie Way asked, what are some of your family members' favorite books, and what do you think of those books as well? It was like pulling teeth trying to get my family to tell me what their favorite books are. So I actually did a little list, mom and dad and brother and sister-in-law, and, you know, and only one of my brothers actually answered. So I actually remembered one of my brothers, Drew, had told me years ago that his favorite book was Robinson Crusoe, which is one of my favorite books as well. I love Robinson Crusoe. And I remember we were talking about it, and he told me that it's his favorite because it's very practical. Just there's a plan, and this is how he survived on the island, you know. And I think I like that too, but more because of it's almost like a puzzle aspect to it. Like, how is he going to survive? We have to solve the puzzle of surviving on the island. So both myself and my brother Drew, we like Robinson Crusoe. My brother Neil was the only one who actually answered yesterday when I was texting them and be like, what's your favorite book? So my brother Neil, he answered and said he loves I, Robot because of logic puzzles, which I have not read I, Robot, but I have watched the movie and I do like the movie. I know the movie's different. I know. People hate it when you say you love the movie I, Robot because it's so different from the book. Then the second one that Neil loves is Raffles, the Amateur Cracksman, which is actually one that I told him to read years ago, and it ends up being one of our favorite books. It's kind of like the opposite of Sherlock Holmes, because Raffles is a thief. So it's very fun. It's adventure and suspense. We both love it. And then the third one that my brother Neil loves that I've never read is A Talent for War, and he said he loves it because archaeological space mystery. That's what he loves. So some of them we have in common and some of them we don't. All right. What do you like most about children's literature? I like that it calms me down. It kind of has a very dualistic view of life. Like there is right and there is wrong, and there's very little gray in between. And that's very much the way I tend to view the world. And so I love that about children's literature. It's just like, I can see this is the way the world is ordered. Everything is orderly, you know, even when there's adventure and chaos and stuff, it's within certain boundaries. I like to have those boundaries. So that's one of the things I love about reading children's literature. So cool. Okay. Our next one is from Kinshuk Dollywall. I'm just saying all these names so wrong. Have you read Neil Gaiman? Yes. I've read two Neil Gaimans. I read Stardust, and I was kind of disappointed because I had watched the movie first and the book was different and it just wasn't quite what I had expected. And so many people have said, Neil Gaiman, he's amazing. Oh, his writing, his imagination, and all this. And then I guess I came into too high of expectations, and I was a little disappointed. I mean, it was fine, but the story structure was kind of erratic. So I'm not sure what I expected there. I really need to try something else of his, though. Something maybe more modern that he's done, you know, and kind of see how he's evolved as a writer. And the other one I read of his was Sleeper in the Spindle, and I did enjoy that quite a lot. I love the writing style. It's really imaginative, fairy tale retelling. It's really cool. So I definitely need to read more from Neil Gaiman. Okay, Susie Smith asked, if you decided to write a book, what type of book would it be? For example, a mystery, a romance, or children's book. So I have written a book, and it's a children's fantasy, which will never be published because it is complete rubbish. It is really terrible. It would need years of editing before it would be ready for publication, and I don't have time for that. So that's never going to happen. It was more just a creative outlet, something fun to try to write something. And so it's not really for publication. It's just something to be for fun. The Buzz Life asked, what TV shows do you watch? Current favorites. Oh my goodness. Was it last year or was it the beginning of this year? I can't, 2020 time is like, I don't even know what time is anymore. But it was a while back. I did a whole series of videos of my favorite retro TV shows, my favorite classic movies, my favorite modern TV shows, what I'm watching now. Like, it was like a 5-video series of all of my favorite TV shows and movies. So go watch those videos because, oh my goodness, the classic movies video was really long because I had a list of like 112 favorite classic movies. And I could just talk about my favorite movies all the time. Okay, where are we? Oh, okay. So Susie Smith asked, if you could get advice on writing a book from any author, alive or dead, who would be your top 3 choices? So getting advice from an author, I would definitely choose C.S. Lewis for my top pick. His writing style, he knew how to cut right to the heart of the matter, and just explain it in simple but really powerful language. And I would just love to be able to, I don't know, have that type of writing style. My other author would be Tolkien for the world building, because oh my goodness, the world building. And then I think Dickens for the characters, because of course Dickens is well known for his amazing characters. Okay, Pashi asks, what are the top 5 books you want to read next year? I do want to reread Lord of the Rings because I don't think I've read it in like 3 or 4 years, which is ridiculous for me because usually I reread it way more often than that. So Lord of the Rings for sure. Chronicles of Narnia, gotta reread that because reasons. Gotta reread Narnia. I have been reading the Redwall series, but I only have like 5 books left in the series. So something like 20-something books in that series. I only have 5 left. So I want to go ahead and read some more of those, but it's also kind of like, oh, I don't want it to be over because now the author has passed away. There are no more Redwall books. So once you've finished, that is it. That is all there is, which is really sad. So it's like, I don't want to read them, but I really just need to read them. So Redwall for sure next year. I want to read more Anthony Trollope. I love Anthony Trollope. I haven't really read anything of his since I finished the Barsetshire Chronicles. I think probably the next one I want to read is He Knew He Was Right by Anthony Trollope, because Katie over at Books and Things is always talking about how amazing that one is. And so I definitely think that's going to be my next Anthony Trollope. Okay, and then I don't know what's the next thing I want to read next year. All the books on this huge stack that I didn't get to this year, so I'm going to try to read all of those. Mary Jane says, I heard about your faith. I really admire your devotion. Oh, thank you. Thank you. I wish there were more Christian booktubers on YouTube that were just willing to talk about their faith. It doesn't have to be like some big controversial thing. Oh no, they said the word Jesus, like it's just part of my life. It's part of my beliefs. And I think that it's good that we can just talk about it. That's wonderful. Okay. So our next one is from Christopher. If you had a chance to talk to Jane Austen, what would you ask of her? Man, so many Jane Austen questions. I love it. I think I would ask her if she really believes that all her heroines at the end of their stories are happy in their marriages. Like they all get married at the end of each book, but do they live happily ever after? I hope they do. I hope Jane Austen thinks that they do too, or at least that they could. Not that their lives would never have any sort of sadness or trouble, but that their marriage would be able to weather the storm, and that they would bring them closer together, and that they wouldn't just be like miserable in their marriages. I hope that they would have strong, happy relationships. And I hope that Jane Austen would truly believe that too. I guess I'm asking, like, does she really believe the truths that she puts forth in her books, the type of worldview and perspective that she puts in her books? Is that really how she sees the world? Like there is a possibility for happiness. Anyway, could life really be the way that Jane Austen paints it? I'd love to ask her that. So Nadia, my favorite world, asked if you ever read poetry and if you like it. I do read poetry and I do like it, but I have to be in the mood for poetry. I don't like modern poetry. I like old classic poetry. And my favorite poet is John Milton. My favorite poem of his is Comus. And of course, I enjoy Shakespeare's sonnets and everything. I'm thinking about doing a video, like a beginner's guide to classic poetry or something, and talk about some of my favorite classic poets. So we'll see about that. Okay, I've been talking for a really long time. I need a drink. Okay, let's see then. Time and Chance asks, do you think that Tolkien suffered from PTSD? And if so, can you see it reflected in his writing? I think that anyone who witnessed the trenches of World War I definitely came away with some degree of PTSD, for sure. And I think that I think you can see that reflected in Tolkien's writing and like the action scenes and the battle scenes and stuff. So I think that's a definite possibility. Yeah. They didn't diagnose it the same back then as they do now, but I think that a lot of people suffered from that, unfortunately. Okay, Debesh Bhattacharjee. Oh, I'm so sorry. I said that so wrong. How do you motivate your reading and improve your skills? So I make reading goals every year to kind of keep me on track and motivate me to read more. I keep a dictionary app on my phone so I can improve my vocabulary. And I get inspired by other people on BookTube, just kind of seeing how much they are reading as well. I think one of the biggest things that keeps me motivated is that I freely DNF books if I am not enjoying them. So I don't sit there and get frustrated with reading something that I'm not enjoying. And, because I'm not frustrated with my reading because I'm enjoying it, then that motivates me to keep reading more. So that's definitely a big thing. A musical bookworm. Yay. Here's a good question. How did you start playing the piano and what's your favorite thing about being a pianist? Yay. So I started taking piano lessons when I was 9 or 10. And I hated it. I just wanted to go outside and play. I just wanted to, watch TV. I didn't want to sit there for 30 minutes and practice piano. And it wasn't really until I was about 14, after about 4 years of music lessons, that I finally started to get good at it. And I could do much cooler songs. I was really starting to get into like Mozart and Bach and Chopin and Beethoven and stuff. I was getting into some really good songs. It wasn't just, Mary Had a Little Lamb anymore. And that was when I really started to enjoy it. I started really getting into it, and my mom didn't have to just sit there and practice. I was happy to practice at that point. And then I guess I was 14 or 15. I was probably 15, I think. My piano teacher had set me my very first Chopin waltz to learn. And I've been working on it for a couple of months. Well, probably probably like 6 weeks or something. And she said, okay, next week is your final exam on this song. And I want you to put in lots of expression, lots of dynamics and stuff. And so I got so focused in when I went to my next lesson. I was playing it for her, and it was just, the emotion and the beautiful music and the expression, and my soul was just being poured into the music, and I was so focused, I did not even realize that my piano teacher's little girl, she was about 4 years old, and she had just been sitting coloring in the corner. She had come over to the piano and was listening, and she was literally right next to me. She was right at my elbow. I didn't even see her. I was so focused in. And then when I had finished, my teacher said, good job, A+. And the little girl, she said, Mommy, that song makes me want to cry. It was a very sad, it was in a minor key, so it was a very sad type of song. And that was the moment when I knew, I want to do this for the rest of my life. I want to make people cry. Not make people cry, but I want to reach other people and reach their heart and their emotions with my music. And that's when I decided I want to be a music teacher. I want to grow up and do what my teacher did for me and inspire me to reach other people through music. And that was pretty much my focus for the next, however many years through high school and then through college. And I've never wavered from that. It's kind of weird to me that people grow up and they don't know what they want to be when they grow up. Like when I was 15, I was I'm going to be a music teacher, and that's what I'm working towards. And I've just never wavered from that. I made up my mind And that's what I've been doing for the rest of my life. And I got my degree in a Bachelor of Science degree in music education. And I've pretty much just been teaching ever since, and I never get tired of it, and I love it. And it just fills me with so much joy and energy, and I love inspiring my students, and it's fantastic. I love being a music teacher. I actually remember at my senior recital in college, I remember thinking, like, if I don't make anybody cry, if nobody cries, then I'm a failure. But after my recital, one of my favorite teachers, one of my favorite professors actually came up to me after recital, and she was crying, and she was like, that was so beautiful. And I was like, yes, oh, I made my teacher cry. I love making people cry because it just means that, you know, my heart has reached out to them through the music, and it has touched their heart and maybe changed lives. You know, it's fantastic. Okay. Oh, so the next one's kind of piano teacher as well. Luke and Jennifer Higgins asked, I know you're a piano teacher. Do you have another job as well? Also, could you please rank your top 3 Wilkie Collins novels? Okay, so first, do I have another job? Yes, I do. I actually work at a local county government job in a county office here. And I just, you know, make appointments and push around papers. And the great thing about that job is that I get to read while I'm at work. So if there's no customers coming in, and I just wait till the phone rings or until another appointment comes in. And so I can get little 15 minutes here, a little 10 minutes there in between customers and be able to sit down and read. So I love my job because I get paid to read. It's awesome. And let's see, what was the other thing? Oh, okay. So I also work as a church pianist. So I teach piano. I work at that government office, and I am the church pianist. So I have 3 jobs. And then if you count BookTube, I really have 4 jobs. So that's quite a lot. My top 3 Wilkie Collins. Okay. So A Woman in White is definitely my top one. Oh, I really need to reread that soon because A Woman in White is fantastic. And then The Moonstone is my second. And then probably No Name is probably my third. It's not like, oh my goodness, my favorite ever. But if I had to pick a third, I think I would go with No Name. Okay. Do you think Anthony Trollope's voice in his writing is very gentle to its reader? Huh. I think so. Yes, I think so. Even when like something crazy is going down, his writing can just be very calm and straightforward, and he's just kind of telling you what happened, you know. So yeah, I think so. Anthony Trollope does have a sort of calming, gentle sort of writing style. I love that. Very cool. David Holm, I can't see you practicing the tuba. So for my brass class that I had to take with my music education degree, I did trumpet. And then for my woodwinds class, I did clarinet. And then for strings, I did violin. Now, I could probably sit down and play Mary Had a Little Lamb on those instruments. Like I could barely get through it, but I am by no means proficient in any other instrument other than the piano. But, you know, I can kind of just, you know, do something very simple, maybe not on the tuba. On the trumpet, I could probably, but definitely not the tuba. No. Okay, our next one is from Allie Way. Can you talk more about being an MK? How old you were as a missionary kid? What other cultures did you get to see? And what did you enjoy about them and the whole experience? I love talking about being a missionary kid. That is such a huge part of my identity, which, you know, the title of my BookTube channel is Books for Missionary Kids. So I was 5 years old when my family moved down to Mexico to start a church there. And I was never taught Spanish. I just learned Spanish playing with some kids out on the street, and we'd play with our Barbies or kick around a soccer ball or whatever, you know, and I would just kind of picked it up little by little. My parents, however, went to a language school to learn Spanish. And it was kind of funny because like after the end of 6 months, a little 5-year-old brain that's just like a sponge had already soaked up so much Spanish that I was correcting my parents' grammar after they'd been in language school for 6 months and I'd been playing with other Hispanic kids, you know, for 6 months. Like I had already soaked in the language so much quicker. It's amazing how little kids they really are just like little sponges for knowledge. What do I love about Mexico? Man, just the food, the people, the culture. the art, the beautiful architecture, the museums, oh, just so many things. Ooh, the music. Oh my goodness. Mexican music is so fantastic. Oh, I miss it so much. It really is like a little piece of my heart is just ripped out. I miss how slow the pace of living is there. Like in America, we are just so hectic, just busy, busy, busy all the time, And in Mexico, you can take time to just breathe and think and relax. But of course, maybe that's just childhood because my childhood was in Mexico. Childhood is when you have time to breathe and think and relax. And now my adulthood, because we came back to the States when I was 17. And so adulthood is when everything is hectic and chaotic. So I don't know, was it Mexico that was slow and easy, or was it just childhood? I'm not really sure. At this point, I don't even know. Okay, so our next one is Huga Tea Jr. I love that. Some warm tea. Could you tell us more about you, about your job and other hobbies? So I already talked about my job. Some of my hobbies, I've talked before on BookTube about yoga. I love to do yoga. It really helps me to just stretch everything out and relax and get rid of some of that stress and tension and everything. So I do love yoga and meditation and prayer. Let's see. I mean, of course, reading, obviously, music, obviously. I love to drink tea. I'm a big tea drinker, mostly like herbal teas and different tea blends and stuff. I have quite a stash of tea in my kitchen cupboards. And I love to knit and crochet. I don't do it a lot because I have a little bit of tendonitis that will tend to flare up sometimes if I do too much with my arms and with my wrist, So I can do a little bit of crochet, but I don't do it a ton. So those are some of my hobbies, things I enjoy. Okay, I think we're down to our very last question from Time and Chance. If you could get everyone to listen to one classical piano work, which piece would you pick and why? So I thought about this. There's really no contest, though. I love Chopin, and one of my favorites of his is Nocturne Opus 72, number 1. I actually christened my baby grand piano when I first bought it by playing this song on it. I mean, for you non-musicians, that means that when I first bought my baby grand, the first song that I played on it kind of christened the instrument, and this was the first song I did, Chopin's Nocturne, Opus 72, number 1. And it was buying that baby grand was the culmination of a lifelong dream. I spent my life savings and purchased this lovely baby grand piano. It's a Yongchang, for those of you who are wondering the make and model. It's a Yongchang, and I love it so much. And playing Chopin on it for the first time, it was like being baptized in the music, It's just so hauntingly beautiful. It's just so delicate, It isn't a minor key, but it's just so beautiful and delicate. I love it. It's fantastic. Okay. Oh, thank you for saying you adore Chopin too. Wonderful. Yay. Okay, one last one. Have you ever watched the TV show Small Wonder back in the 80s? No, I've never heard of that. Never heard of that. Ooh, I'll have to look that one up. Fantastic. All right. Well, we have been here for almost an hour. Huh. Not bad for my first live stream. I have not stopped talking that entire time. Oh my goodness. Thank you guys so much for joining me. This has been so much fun. You know what? Now I'm going to have to do some more live streams because this has been fantastic. This has been so amazing and fun. So I'm going to have to do this more often. This will be great. Oh, thank you. Do this again, please. Yes, I will. Awesome. Wonderful. So I'm not really sure how to sign off. I guess I'll just say what I always say. Thanks for watching. Please subscribe. And remember, the right book in the right hands at the right time can change the world. Thank you. Bye, everybody.